Hi, everybody. I am Brian Saliba from Crowbar Creative alongside famed game designer Ivan Alexiev, and we are the designers of Siege Perilous, a forthcoming board game from Play to Z. Ivan, say hello to your fans out there.
Hello, hello. It's a pleasure to be with you, Brian.
We are going to be demonstrating and doing a bit of a tutorial, hopefully, for how Siege Perilous works. This is a game in which the players take on the roles of Knights of the Round Table, Knights Errant in Arthur's realm, and they travel about doing quests and interacting with other knights and courtiers and dragons and monsters and going on foreign campaigns and doing all sorts of deeds of daring do in order to hopefully outdo their opponents and win the Siege Perilous, the famed chair at the round table, and therefore become the greatest of Arthur's knights. And the way that we decide who is going to become, who is going to win that chair, is through these virtue and skill points that we're going to be collecting throughout the game. The virtue points are these gold guys, and the skill points are the silver ones. And you see how they interlock somewhat. And individually, each of these points at the end of the game will count for a single point. And if you have one of each, then the completed circle counts for 3. So having lots of single points is great, but the more combinations that you have, the higher your score is going to be. Ivan, did I explain that well? I
I
feel
think
like I
so.
didn't.
I think so. Yeah, you're trying to balance them if you can, but if you go just silver or just gold, you're just gonna need more of them to do well. So you can be a very very skilled knight, and Arthur will still be impressed, but he'd be more impressed if you're also virtuous.
What a great and thematic way to put it.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Theme when it comes to game design. You know that.
This is why you're a famed game designer.
Yeah.
So we'll start off by taking a look at my character and my player standard or my player board. And today I'm going to be taking on the role of Dame Britomart, who is a character from Edmund Spenser's The Fairy Queen, which is one of the many sources that we've drawn from for inspiration and for content. We've certainly ripped Spenser off very lovingly. And Dame Britomart is a paragon of chastity. This daughter of King Rience chose to shun her father's warmongering and pursue her own quest, guided by a prophetic vision from Merlin's mirror. So that's from her starting card. And the starting card also tells me what her stats are to begin the game. You can see icons on the left and on the right side of her portrait on her starting card, and those correspond to her virtues and her skills. And you can see on the player standard that on the left side are my virtues: courage, faith, fidelity, and justice. And on the right side are my skills: combat, court, horse, and nature. And as we go along, we are going to be trying to increase these things as often as we can, because whatever rank we are in any one of these virtues and skills, that's what tells us how many dice we roll when that particular virtue or skill is called upon. So in Dame Britomart's case, I begin with an increase in my faith, courage, and my fidelity. So you can see my standard here. My little crest is already on the second rank of courage, faith, and fidelity, meaning that should a challenge that I face call upon my fidelity, for example, I would check my player board, see that I'm in the second rank, and I would get to roll 2 of these virtue dice, the gold ones. You'll see throughout the game, virtue things are gold, skill things are silver. And these virtue dice have, they're 6-sided, and one of the sides is a blank. 2 of the faces are candles. 2 of the faces are grails, a single grail, and then 1 face is a double grail, and that's in ascending order of value. So generally speaking, you're going to want as many grails as possible. Most challenges are going to call for that. Although candles, although they're not grails and can be very similar to a failure on a roll, they can be used later as you increase your virtues further and unlock these candle powers in the third and fifth ranks of your virtues. And you'll see that as we play.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck mitigation in the game through abilities with the candles, or in skills we have a similar thing with the anvils. Um, and something just to mention that you can always use a higher result on your die as if it were a lower result. So, for instance, if you want a candle but you have a critical hit like 2 grails, you can use the 2 grails as a candle. So anything below it, you can choose to use.
And for Dame Britomart, I start off with an increase in my combat, court, and horse, and that's reflected here on my player standard. And likewise, if my court skill is called for, I check and see that I'm at 2, so I'd be rolling 2 dice. If my nature skill is called for, on the other hand, I'm only in the first rank on nature to begin the game, so I'd only be rolling 1 of these silver dice. Mm-hmm. And silver dice, just like the gold dice, they've got a single blank face, then they have 2 faces that are not the result you want, but can potentially be useful. That's, in this case, an anvil. And they have 2 sides that are swords, that's a good thing, and then 1 side that's a double sword, that's a super good thing. So you'll see that there are lots of icons on these tracks for virtues and skills, and the icons there are additional rewards that you unlock or receive as you increase those virtues and skills. Yep. In some cases, it's placing one of your crests on one of Arthur's tracks on the board. You'll see on the border, on the edge of the board, we've got 2 Arthur favored tracks, and this is what indicates your favor with Arthur as he tracks your progress throughout the game. As you place crests in this left one, that's Arthur's virtue favor. Sorry, Evan, you'll need to cut that in post.
Okay, no worries.
We'll be placing crests in the left side to indicate our favor with Arthur in terms of our virtue, and on the right side, our favor with him in terms of our skill. And when the track is full, whoever has the most crests in that track will reap the reward, which is some in-game points and a title, which is a further benefit that we'll explain when we get to it. And the other purpose of your player standard is to track your wisdom. So you can see in the middle of the board is my wisdom, and everyone starts in the first rank on wisdom, and that means that we have a single wisdom die that we can roll at our discretion, and we have a capacity of 1 for wisdom dice. So wisdom die are powerful in that one face is either a candle or a grail. 2 faces are a single sword or a single grail, and then my math is wrong. 3 faces are single sword, single grail, and 2 faces are a double sword or a double grail. So wisdom dice are very powerful things to use, but they're consumable. So when I've used my wisdom die, it's gone until I replenish it by going to a church or as a reward for certain things I do. And as you increase your wisdom, you not only gain an additional die, but you increase your capacity for holding wisdom dice. So should I get my wisdom all the way up to 4, that means I can bank a total of 4 wisdom dice that can be used to help me accomplish deeds. The player standard also is where we keep all of our resources, and we can hold a maximum of 5 of each resource, which is indicated on the standard, and we start out with a certain number, which is based on what our starting loadout is. I mean, my increase in courage, for example, gave me a spur, which is why I have one here, and my increase in horse also gave me a spur, so that's why I have two to begin the game. So these resources are likewise consumable. Fame are these purple trumpets, and then these are coins, these are blessings, and these are spurs. Fame and coins are basically a kind of currency that we're going to be using to access locations and do things. So you kind of spend them, and you earn them and then spend them to do stuff. Blessings are a little bit different in that they actually have a functional use. They are used for dice manipulation. So you can spend a blessing to increase the result of a die roll by 1. So if I've rolled this die and I've gained, and say it's resulted in a single sword, but I want to have double swords, I can spend a fame to increase the result of this by 1 value, making it a double. What are you saying, Ivan?
A blessing, not a fame, but yeah.
What'd I say?
You said a fame.
So, but the whole idea is to confuse people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how blessings work. They're used to increase die rolls and manipulate dice that you've rolled. However, on the reverse side of blessings is this symbol, this snake, which is a dishonor. And these you can earn as a consequence for failing to do things or when something goes haywire. And at the end of the game, dishonor that you have will cancel out your skill and virtue points. So you definitely don't want to end the game with these. But during the course of the game, they also have a negative consequence because they collect in the same space on your player standard as your blessings. So the more dishonor you have, the fewer blessings you can carry. To begin the game, I start with a single blessing, no dishonor, so that's happy. Spurs also have a functional use. They can be spent to move one space from one kingdom to an adjacent kingdom for free at any time during your turn. And we'll cover movement in a minute, but they're very simple, but very useful, very powerful things because they can spare you having to spend some of your action moving. You can spend spurs instead and then do more stuff. On the reverse side of spurs are wounds, these orange skulls. Like dishonor, they will cancel out your in-game points, but like dishonor, they will also limit your capacity to carry something, in this case spurs. So wounds collect in the same area as spurs. The more you have, the fewer spurs you can carry. And there are lots of ways to get rid of wounds and dishonor, or potentially flip a wound into a spur. But we'll get to that as we go. The spaces at the bottom of your player standard are where you place knights and courtiers that you have collected. Knights being these blue cards, courtiers being these pink ones. And as we go around the board and interact with certain elements, we'll be encountering knights and courtiers. And should we win them to our cause in the case of heroes or capture them in the case of villains, we'll place them in these spots. And you can see we've got a capacity for 2. You'll see a bit more on how that works as we go, but that's what those indicators are.
Yep. And you also start with an asset, in your case, a combat asset.
All right. So that means, Ivan, I think I should draw my combat asset.
Go for it.
And stop talking. So there are 4 skills, and likewise, there are 4 types of assets. And you can see next to each skill, there's a slot for you to place that asset. You can only have one asset of a type active at any one time, but you can carry as many as you want. So that won't be, having multiple won't come up until later. But for now, I start with a combat asset. So I'll draw one of these, flip it, and see what I have. And I've drawn full plate armor. That's a good thing. So, excuse me. So this will allow me, when I'm rolling my skill dice, should I roll an anvil, I can use that anvil, I'm placing that anvil here, to now roll an additional die. So very useful. And then I can also sell this thing for 3 coins at a market, as indicated at top right. And the last thing, now that my character is all set up, I've got my starting asset, I've got all my stats sorted, the last thing for me to do is to flip over my starting card to find out what my starting quest is. Every character starts with their own quest. In my case, it's the House of Boozy Rain. And we're not going to be reading flavor text in this demo, which makes me sad because I really like getting theatrical with it. But you can always pause the video and read it if you like. But from a mechanical standpoint, what this means is that in order to tackle this quest, the requirement is I have to have at least 3. I have to be in the 3rd rank in combat. And at the moment, I'm only at 2. So before I can even attempt this thing, I've got to get my combat up 1. Once I've done that, I have to travel to Lothian, which is a kingdom on the map. And there I will be testing my courage, as indicated in the middle of the card. And in order to complete the quest, I've got to have at least a candle, and a grail as die results. And if I can only achieve some of those, I can place one of my shield crests on the task that I can finish and try again later. But generally speaking, you want to try and do them all in one go, just for action economy. And we'll get into what some of the symbols mean as we get into gameplay. So for me, and generally for players starting out, the best thing to do to learn the game is just to kind of focus on your starting quest, because not only is it a good way to advance your character, but it also will it serves as a kind of mini tutorial in terms of how the game works and how you interact with things. So Dame Britomart is locked and loaded and ready to get going. So
right.
why don't you tell us who you're going to be?
Sure. So
what your starting character is.
Yep. So I'm in blue, and I'm Sir Primus. All of the stats have been done. I do need to draw my starting asset, which is a nature asset. And I start with this great carrier pigeon, which allows me to place 2 anvils in order to discard a dishonor and gain a coin. Sir Primus, descended from Judas Maccabeus and Hector of Troy, you met Sir Gawain while serving in the army of Rome. You've embraced Arthur's cause and defected to the Round Table, bringing knowledge of herbalism and a powerful sword arm. And when you flip it on the back, my starting quest is the Chapel of the Black Hand, for which I need to get to Cornwall, have 3 or more nature, and then I will be testing my faith.
Great. And your starting stats are different than mine. You begin with an increase in your faith, fidelity, and justice, and then your combat horse and nature. And therefore, your starting resources are also different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the industry, Ivan, you can correct me, as famed game designer Ivan Alexiev, we call that asymmetrical.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, we do have an asymmetrical start.
For those of you who don't know, I don't know shit about board games.
Yeah.
That's where Ivan comes in, and why our partnership is a beautiful thing.
Yep. You are you are an any award-winning RPG writer, though, and
well, yeah, that's why the first iteration of this game was basically an RPG that took place on a board game. Fortunately, Ivan came aboard and fixed everything. So
Yeah. So anyway, in this tutorial, first of all, I just want to mention that what you see visually is not the final version of the game. There will be lots of changes to the way that it looks, and the game is scenario based, meaning that there's different ways to play. There's different modes. In this case, we're playing a shorter game so that we can do it in about an hour. And we can, if we have a look here, we've got the round tracker, and here is going to be the end of the game. So we're going to play a total of, 7 rounds, and we're going to have these events pop up during the game. And once this round tracker reaches the final space, then we're going to count up our points and see who claims the Siege Perilous.
correct. Yeah, and this, as Ivan said, we're going to be playing a very basic and short version of the game, and the mode we're playing is a competitive mode. We also have a cooperative mode, and there's a solo mode as well. But we're going to be showing you a very basic version, and even within those versions, there's lots of variation. You can play with a lot of different events happening throughout the course of the game, which are cards that you're drawing that change the map and offer variety and offer new adventure sites. So there's a lot of, and actually there are some entire kind of storylines or campaigns you can play through, and those will unlock new cards that can be added to the game and further used, and in fact unlock new starting characters. Both of the characters that we're playing with in this game happen to be kind of unlockables. You'll unlock Dame Britomart by playing the Fairy Queen storyline, and you unlock Priamus by playing the War with Rome storyline. So, but the game is perfectly functional without playing one of those thematic storylines, just shuffling up the cards and having a go. And that's what we're going to be showing today. And in terms of how everything looks, the art itself that you see on our player standards, on the individual knight and courtier cards and the treasure cards, all of that is final and done. The paintings are all done by a guy named Jay Johnstone, and all done sort of hand painted on vellum and with gold leaf. And we got 200 something pieces, but the actual graphic design is sadly my own and cobbled together in Canva. So the graphic design is underway now, where we have actual professionals taking Jay's art, taking Ivan's ideas and my ideas, and making them look more professional than this does. And this big giant legend at the bottom of the board, which we'll be referencing throughout the game, will not appear on the final board. We just have it here as a way to help teach the game.
Yep.
So the way that the game works, in terms of, but from a turn-to-turn standpoint, is that on your turn you have 2 things you can perform, and you've got 3 options for those 2 things. You can move, which standard movement is just moving 3 adjacent spaces. So we both start in South Logres, 1, 2, 3, and that's move up to 3. You can just move 1 if you want, and that will count as one of your actions. The other option you have, another option you have, is to interact with one of the elements on the board, and each of these churches and castles and towers and things represent a location that you can enter, and on doing so, you gain resources and have opportunities to do adventure stuff and all of that. And then third option for how to spend your turn is to attempt a quest, and you'll see how that happens. And then when you've completed your 2 actions by combining or doing 2 of any of those things, 2 of any of the same things, then you'll have one final thing to do before your turn is over, and that is to decide what your end of turn choice will be. And your options depend upon which kingdom you're in. So in some kingdoms, there are multiple options. In other kingdoms, there's only one. But at the bottom here in the legend are the end of turn options. There's a contest site, which is a kind of PvP area. There is a dungeon where you go to turn in villains that you've collected for reward. There is the Forest Sauvage, where you can travel to draw a Forest Sauvage card, go in the Forest of Adventure, and have random encounters. And then there are fountains that give you resources and benefits. And you'll see how those work as we go. But shall we start?
Let's get to it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. You're tired of hearing me talk.
That's I put it in a more delicate fashion.
All right, so I'm going first.
Sure.
And I am, in order to attempt my quest, as I said, I've got to get my combat up by 1. So my goal is to get to the combat training tower, which is here in North Lowgrace, and to enter that tower, and in order to increase my combat. So my first action is going to be to move 1, 2, and my second action is going to be to interact with this location. And you can see that by the banner at the top, that's what tells me that combat is the skill that can be trained here. And on entering this location, on entering any of the training towers, you automatically gain a spur. So I'll grab one of those and add it to my player standard. And then as my options, additional options there are to spend one of my fame in order to gain. I'm assuming everybody can hear my my dog co-designer Winnie loudly drinking several gallons of water. It's just I'm watering my horse. Yeah. And so I can spend a fame to gain a wisdom die, as we talked about before, or I can spend a fame to discard a dishonor or a wound. I don't have any of those, but that's something I can do at any of the training towers. Or, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to definitely take this option. I can spend 2 fame. I have 2, so I will move those into the bank. And that will allow me to increase the skill at that training tower, in this case combat. So to increase that skill, I just move my crest over by 1, and now I am at the 3rd rank. And you can see the icon underneath this 3rd rank is the silver Arthur Faber icon. So I move that over. That means I can roll 3 dice in combat when combat is called for. And that icon tells me I can take one of my crests and place it in Arthur's skill favor here. Mm-hmm. And I've done my 2 actions, so now the only thing left is for me to decide what I want to do for my end of turn action. And my options in this kingdom are to stay here, which means I get to visit this fountain, and this fountain is the Fountain of Marvels. The icon there indicates that I just gain 1 resource of my choice for free. Or, since there's a Forest Sauvage on my border, in the border of this kingdom, I can spend a spur and enter the Forest Sauvage and see what happens. That I'm going to do. All right. So I'll spend a spur. I move into the Forest Sauvage, put my icon there, and no one else can enter this particular Forest Sauvage while I'm there. And then I draw a Forest Sauvage card and see what adventures await. This is the Fairy Market. So you can pause and read the flavor text, but essentially this is kind of a gambling thing where I'm going to be rolling my court dice, and depending on those rolls, depending on how the dice work out, I can have good things happen, which would be earning a treasure, which is like a really good magic item. I would be able to flip a wound into a spur. I could gain a coin. But if I roll any blanks, that means that I have to flip spurs into wounds, which is not a good thing. And as indicated on the card, I cannot use blessings to manipulate the dice results, because it's a fairy market.
Yeah, it's a pure gambling game. But you can also choose, if you don't want to, gain a spur and just not interact with it.
Right.
But I know you're not that type of guy.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I am going to interact with this fairy market. So that means I have to roll my court. So I check my player standard, see that my court is at the second rank. That means I get to roll 2 dice and hope for lots of swords and definitely hoping for no blanks.
Okay.
All right, not so bad. So I've got 2 swords. That means that I can flip 2 wounds and make them into spurs. Now, since I don't have any wounds, that just means I gain 2 spurs.
Mm-hmm.
So, ooh, all right, this is good. I have lots of spurs, and I have completed my end of turn action. And now I'll take this card and I'll keep it. And it goes into what we call your player's legacy, which is all of the cards that you've interacted with, collect there. And they might enter into your in-game scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So I add this Force Savage to my legacy, and that is the end of my turn.
All right, perfect. My turn. I'm in South Logres. I need to get to the top of the board to increase my nature if I want to do my quest. So what I think I'll do instead is I'll travel more towards the middle of the board and kind of get ready um, to move up and increase my nature later. So for now, I will move to Reged. So I move 3 spaces through West Logres and Cameliard, and then I will also be visiting this training site, which is the horse training site. And I do exactly what Brian did. I gain 1 spur, I spend 2 fame to increase my horse skill, and that gives me a crest on Arthur's skill track. And that was also my second action. I can't go to the Forest Sauvage because this forest is not big enough for the 2 of us. So instead, I'm going to visit King Urien's melee site, where I generate 2 blessings. And this is the PvP site that Brian mentioned earlier. If I'm still here and controlling this site by the beginning of my next turn, I get to keep them. If Brian chooses to end his turn in Reged and challenge me, well, if I win against him, then I get to keep them, otherwise not. But that's the end of my turn. So, because we've both ended our turns, the round marker moves forward, and we see that we get a foreign campaign. So I'll shuffle the foreign campaigns, and we draw 1. So we got the Holy Sepulchre. That means that when we use any of these 3 ports, not only do we get to use them for fast traveling around the map, but also we can interact with this event, which will be testing our horse and our faith, which is pretty lucky for me because I did just get my horse up.
All right. So the Holy Sepulchre is available to us, and now it's my turn again.
Mm-hmm.
I've ended my turn in the Forest Sauvage, so I can begin my turn in any kingdom that borders it. Now, my goal right now, in order to complete my quest, is to go to Lothian. So I'll begin my turn in Northumberland, and then I will spend one of my spurs to travel from Northumbrian to Lothian, and that doesn't count as one of my actions because I've spent a spur, so I still have 2 actions I can do this time. And here, for my first action, I am going to attempt to complete my quest. So this is going to call for, this is a courage test in Lothian. My courage is at 2, so I'll be rolling 2 dice. All right. I've rolled a candle and a double grail. So the double grail is the best thing you can have. So it can cover any of these 3 spots. So I'll cover one of those. I'll use a candle on one of these candle ones, but you can see I'm still 1 die short. No matter how well I've rolled on 2 dice, I need to have 3 dice in order to do this. So here's where I'm going to use my wisdom die. I'll roll this, and I've got 1 grail. Well, 1 grail is fine. That'll cover a candle because it outranks a candle.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I have everything I need to complete this quest. And having done so, I can choose what my reward will be. I can choose between a divine reward or an earthly reward, or I can get a permanent wisdom increase. So I'm going to choose the earthly reward this time. And the symbols here mean that I get three things. I can increase my nature by one, my nature skill. I can add one of my crest to Arthur's skill favor, and I get a silver skill point. So
Okay, your point.
here is the nature increase by one. So now I'm at the second rank of nature, and that comes with a blessing. And here is my crest in the skill, Arthur's skill favor. And Ivan has given me my skill point. So that was my first action. And for my second action, I am going to visit the Castle of the Hard Rock, which is also here in Lothian. And this is a tournament castle, which is where you can interact with knights in the hopes of, if they're heroes, winning them to your side, adding them to your retinue. If they're villains, I'm hoping to capture them so that I can take them to a dungeon for reward. And tournament castles are generally places where you go to gain fame as well. And I don't have any fame, so this particular castle, you can see from its banners, the two skills I'm going to be using here are combat and horse. So this is a joust using combat and horse against whoever is here. So I'll be drawing one of these knight cards. And I've drawn Sir Marhaus. He's pretty tough. The results I need are 2 double swords and 2 single swords. And I'll be rolling combat and horse. My combat is at 3, my horse is at 2. So I'll be rolling 5 dice.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
All right, pretty good. So I've got a double sword there. I've got single swords here. But I'm short a double sword. So I've got a few options. But the simplest thing is for me to just take one of my blessings, use it on this die to increase it by 1 value to double sword, and that gives me everything I need to unhorse Sir Marhaus. And you can see from his dice array here that there's a number of things going on. First of all, there are wound icons under 3 of his dice. If I'm unable to cover any die with a wound icon, then I have to take that wound. But in this case, I'm able to cover all 4, so I'm not going to take any wounds. And I also gain individual rewards for each of these dice. In this case, I get 1 fame for the first die, 2 fame for the second one. I can flip a dishonor into a blessing for the third one, and I gain a wisdom die for the fourth one. So in total, I'll have gain 3 fame.
1 blessing.
And a blessing, since I don't have any dishonor to flip. And I get a wisdom die. And I spent mine on my quest, so that's good. And since I've covered all 4, and I would be able to gain those individual dice rewards even if I couldn't do all 4. Any die I can cover, I'll gain the reward for. But since I've done all 4, I have sufficiently impressed Sir Marhaus, and he joins my retinue. So I add him to my player standard, and he will, as a one-time bonus, he will allow me to roll 2 additional dice at a contest site. So, and when he leaves my retinue and goes into my legacy. That's a one-time bonus he adds. And he also brings with him a silver skill point.
I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Being at a contest site right now and seeing that you have spurs, so you can actually come in on your turn and probably use Sir Marhaus to beat me up.
That will be, I think that's what's going to happen. So I've completed my 2 actions, and now it's my end turn. And I have to make a choice. I've got a Forest Sauvage on the border. I have a contest site here. But since I have Sir Marhaus, I will spend a spur to travel to Reged and end my turn there. And since Ivan is on that contest site, we have to compete for it.
Yep. And we're competing. It shows us here that we're going to be rolling our faith. And in secret, we can use everything we've got. So that's like blessings, assets, any special abilities, and so on. Then we're going to reveal, and whoever has the most grails wins. Tie goes to the defender. So in this case, if I can get to tie Brian, that would be great. But I do know that Brian also has Sir Marhouse, who's going to give him 2 additional dice. And I also know that he has 2 faith just like me. So pretty dangerous, but let's see. You better be worried, Brian.
I'm not looking.
All right, well, prepare for defeat.
I detect sarcasm. All right. Use a blessing on this one to change it to that.
I've locked in, so I'm just going to watch over what you're doing.
This. Okay. So I used a blessing, 2 blessings total to get my total to 3 grails. Do I think that's enough, or do I want to use my wisdom die? I'm going to save my wisdom die and hope that 3 is enough to beat you. So my final is 3 grails.
All right, well, tie goes to the defender, but in this case, it's not a tie. You absolutely demolish me.
Yay.
So you move me out of the space, but also because you won, you can see under the tent here, Arthur is peeking out, and that means you may place one of your quests on Arthur's virtue track.
Because we tested a virtue. So I used Sir Marhaus's aid in that, so he will leave my retinue and go into my legacy, and now I am controlling the contest site.
Yep.
And that's the end of my turn.
Yep, and Sir Marhaus does give you 1 skill point as indicated here, which you can take now.
Right.
Now, you don't need to use him to get the skill point. If at the end of the game he's still in your retinue and you haven't used him, you'd still get that skill point. So it is guaranteed there. All right, so it's the beginning of my turn. Unfortunately, I don't get those 2 blessings that I generated. So let's see what I can do. So I've got pretty good combat and horse. I do need some fame, so what I might do is go and also joust where Brian jousted last time. So I'm kind of copying you. I spend 1 spur to move for free to Lothian, and then my first action is going to be to draw a knight. So let's shuffle and draw. All right, so I drew a villain, Sir Ironside, and he requires 2 crits and 1 single sword.
Right, and we didn't explain the villain hero thing. So you can see Marhaus was a hero, as indicated by the blue icon. You know that Ironside is a villain because there are dudes hanging on gibbets in the background, but also because of the red icon.
Yep. All right, so I have 5 dice also, and let's see how I can do. Not super good. Not super good. I was hoping to do better. But you know what? I kind of want to use my courier pigeon, but I'm not going to use my courier pigeon. Instead, I will first use my wisdom die. Let's see what happens. Okay, that does help a little bit. So I'm going to use a blessing on this wisdom die to make it a double sword, covering one of these. And then I can cover the other double sword with that. And then I could use... Oh no. Oh no, yes. Oh yes. All right, my other blessing is going to turn one of these anvils into a single sword. And there we have it. I have defeated Sir Ironside, which comes with 3 fame. 2, 3. And he comes to my retinue over here. And he's not a hero, he's a villain, so I can turn him into a dungeon to gain these additional rewards. And I don't gain those rewards unless I turn him in. So right now he's my prisoner. But I am quite happy with that because I've got my fame. And I am ready to go and study nature. And to do that, I'm going to spend 1 more spur as a free action to move into Orkney, and then I'll visit the training site, where on entry I gain a spur, and then I'll spend my 2 fame to increase my nature, and that will allow me to place one more quest over here. And then I need to end my turn. The question is, do I want to end it here on this contest site, or do I want to go to the Forest Sauvage? I don't want to go to the Forest Sauvage, and the reason is you don't know what you're going to get. It's a great place to go if you've got wisdom and you've got blessings, and I don't have either of those, so I'm just going to visit this fidelity contest site and generate 2 coins. And that's the end of my turn and also the end of the round. So Brian, you may take it away, and at the beginning of your turn you gain your blessings because you do control that site.
All right, I'll add those to my retinue. And I'll spend my first action traveling 1-2 to Orkney.
You bully.
And here I am going to take ship. So I'm going to use the port. And I can spend either a fame or a coin to use the port.
Yep,
In this
that's
case,
shown
I
here.
will spend a fame. And that means I can travel to any port, including staying at the one I'm at if I want to. But on the way to the port I'm going to be traveling to, I'm going to interact with this foreign campaign that's available, the Holy Sepulchre. I'll go to Spain and do the. Oh no, in this case, go to Jerusalem and attempt this foreign campaign. So I'll be rolling my faith and my horse, as indicated on the card. My faith is at 2, so that's 2 gold dice. My horse is also 2, so 2 silver dice. So.
And I'll just bring this over here just so that it's easier for people to see. We'll take it back after you're done.
Good idea. Okay. So I have rolled 2 grails, a candle, an anvil, and a blank. So first thing I'm going to do is use my full plate, which comes in handy on the road to Jerusalem. So I place the anvil here, and that allows me to roll another die. So I'll bring this into the mix. Okay, good. Got a sword. I'm also going to use my wisdom die. So I'll roll that into the mix.
Ooh.
Right, got a double. And I can use that as either 2 grails or 2 swords. It's not both. Now, I haven't unlocked any of the candle powers, so candles are useless to me. The blank is useless. But I do have 2 blessings. So I already have enough to do this second task, which calls for 2 grails and 2 swords. And question is, can I do anything else? If I use my blessings, am I able to do anything else? And the answer is yes. If I use 1 blessing, this changes to a grail. If I use my second blessing, this changes to a double grail. So now I have 2 grails and a sword. I can do the top 2 things, the top 2 tasks, which means I place a crest and gain the reward for that individual task. And you can see that from the icons behind the grails and swords, if I was unable to do this top one, I would gain 2 dishonor. So I've effectively blocked those 2 dishonor, and I gain the reward. And the one below would have given me a wound, but I'm able to do that one. So I block the wound and I get the rewards. I can't do this bottom one yet, but I can try again on a future turn. And I would want to do that because the first person to place 3 crests on this foreign campaign gets a big reward at the end. But at the moment, the top task gives me a blessing and a wisdom die, so I can replenish the one I spent. The second one lets me flip a wound into a spur. I don't have wounds, so I'll gain a spur. And that also gives me a nature asset. So I'll draw one of these, add it to my loadout. So it's a spaniel. Oh, I came back from Jerusalem with a little friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets me roll dice lets me spend an anvil on it to roll dice for all the court things if I'm good at court. So that was my second action, to interact with the port and go on the foreign campaign. I will have the ship drop me off in South Lowgrace, where I'll end my turn, and I will end it by, I could either visit this contest site, or I could go to the Forest Sauvage, and I'm going to go to the Forest Sauvage. So I'll spend a spur, go to the forest, and draw. I'll put it here. This is no rest for the wary. So I receive an invitation from a person at the side of the road who has a nice pavilion, and I can choose to decline this because I think sorcery may be afoot, and that would allow me to flip a dishonor into a blessing, or just gain a blessing if I don't have a dishonor, or I can accept this invitation, in which case it's a bit of a gamble, because what I'll do is reveal the a courtier, and if it's a hero, things are good. I get to I get some rewards, and if it's a villain, then I have to use my justice to try and capture this villain, which for me is going to be tough because I've only got one justice die. But we'll throw caution to the wind. I will accept the invitation and draw that courtier.
Yep, or the deck of courtiers.
Well, it's hard enough.
Yeah.
As it is. And it is a hero. It's Lady Angarad. Golden Hand. So, fortunately, it's not a villain, which would have been a difficult thing for me, having only one die in justice. And so, a few things happen. I can, first of all, add this hero to my retinue. So, we had a sufficiently fun time in the pavilion that she joins me. And I am going to gain a dishonor by doing this because I'm choosing to rest and party with Golden Hand instead of doing more important business. So I will add a dishonor, and then I get to flip all wounds that I have. So she would heal all wounds by turning them into spurs. I don't have any wounds, so I will gain all spurs. And then I add this card to my legacy, and that ends my turn.
All right. Beginning of my turn, I get my coins because you did not challenge me. I wish you had challenged me. I would have absolutely put up a good fight there. Then I will... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend a spur to move down to Lothian. I'm wondering if I should...
Be decisive, Ivan.
Yeah, sorry. I just feel like I should challenge you here, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go ahead and in Lothian first. I'm gonna go to the church, and in church, I gain one blessing on entry. Then I spend 2 coins to increase the in the virtue of that church. So in this case, that is fidelity, which allows me to place a crest. And finally, in churches, as you can see over here, so I've gained my blessing, I've increased my virtue, and then I can spend a coin to either remove a dishonor or wound or gain a wisdom die. And I don't have any wisdom dice, so I'm just going to pick up a piece of wisdom from that church. So that's my first action. Then my second action will be to fight another knight, and let's see who I get.
So churches operate much like training towers, except for virtues instead of skills.
Yep, that's right. So Sir Yvain, and
Ooh.
I will be testing my horse and combat. So that's again 5 dice. Let's do the roll. Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't.
Oh.
He does not stand a chance.
Oof.
Yep, I absolutely win this. So I gain 3 fame and a nature asset. 3 fame and a nature asset. And now I do have 2 different nature assets. I need to choose which one I keep active. And in this case, I will keep active the Allant. It means that I mean, it's a really good one. I can spend a fame and an anvil to roll another 3 dice. And Sylvain joins my retinue. He can help me out in Reged, which is over here. Just any die roll there, he'll help out. And then to finish my turn, I will end my turn here in Lothian and generate 2 spurs. Alright, so that was the end of the round. Then we move the round tracker forward and we draw a Merlin card. So Merlin appears in Sorgalis, which is over here. And very similar to the foreign campaign, he will ask us to test our courage and our nature. And that is the end of the round and the start of the new round. Brian, you may take your turn.
Okay. I can choose to begin in either Cornwall or South Lowgrace. I will choose South Lowgrace. Spend a spur to travel to West Lowgrace. And for my first action, I will go to the church there. So I'll gain a blessing on entry, and then I'll spend 2 coins to increase my faith. So faith goes up. That allows me to place a crest in Arthur's virtue favor. I've got 1 action left, so I'll spend a spur to travel for free back to South Lowgrace, and then I will visit the port in order to try and finish this foreign campaign, because it goes away in 2 rounds, as you can see on the round track. And I've got some investment there, and I don't want it to go away before I finish it off. So I'll spend a fame to access the port, and I'll be rolling my faith and my horse. I've just increased my faith, so now I'm going to be rolling 3 gold dice. My horse is still at 2, so that's 3 gold, 2 silver dice. And I'm looking for 4 grails and 2 swords in order to finish this one. All right. It is 2 grails and 1 sword and an anvil. All right, so I will first of all, I'll spin the anvil on my full plate to bring another silver die into the mix. Helpful. Good. So I've got my 2 swords. Now I need to get to 4 grails. So I have blessings I can use, and I think that's probably the simplest thing. I could also use my wisdom die, but I'm going to use my 2 blessings to increase each of these by 1 value, or I could increase 1 by 2, but either way, that gets me to my 4 grails and 2 swords that are needed. I place a crest on this final task. That allows me to increase my wisdom permanently by 1. So that comes with a wisdom die. I've now got 2 of these banked. And you can see under the crest, that means I can also place a crest in either of Arthur's favorite tracks. It's my choice for this one. And since Ivan and I are competing for this one, if I place it here, I'll have 3, he'll have 2, but if he places 1 more, we'll tie, and that would let him win it. So I'm going to place it in the faith one, and now I'm ahead 3-1 on that one. I like that better. And since I'm the first to complete all 3 of these, that means I get the big reward at the bottom, which is, first of all, I can increase any virtue by 1. And since Merlin is looking for courage, I'll increase my courage by 1. And that allows me to place a crest in Arthur's virtue track. And next, it allows me to flip 3 dishonor into blessings. Now I have 1 dishonor, so I'll get to flip that into a blessing. And for the other 2, I just gain blessings since I don't have 2 more dishonor. And finally, I get 2 virtue points. So I'll collect those, and I complete both of those virtue point collections, and that means I'm sitting on a total of 6 in-game points at the end toward this Siege Perilous. So that was my second action, and now I can choose which port I would like to be dropped off in. And I will ask the ship to drop me in Sorgales. So I will be where Merlin is, because I do intend on visiting him. So since I've ended my turn in Sorgales, that means I can visit the fountain there, which allows me to flip a wound into a spur. Don't have wounds, so I gain a spur, and that ends my turn.
All right, perfect. So if I at the beginning of my turn, I gain my spurs, and I don't have the coins, so I think I want to train up a little bit, and then I do want to turn that villain in. So I'm gonna spend a spur to move down to Reged. Then in Reged, I'm gonna visit the horse training site where I gain 1 spur on entry, and then I spend 2 fame to increase my horse skill, which will allow me to place a crest on that skill track. And that's my first action. Then I do have some more fame. You can't visit the same location more than once per turn. So what I'll do actually is I'm sneakily gonna spend another spur to visit North Logres, and in North Logres I will visit the combat skill site, where again I gain a spur back and spend 2 fame to increase my combat, and that will trigger the skill track over here. Because we're 2 players, so in 2-player it triggers on this location, which means that whoever has the most crests, in this case me, gains the rewards on top. So I gain 2 silver points, and I gain a silver title. So Brian, from now on you may call me Perfectionist Sir Primus. Sir Primus the Perfectionist, if you will. It's nice because it alliterates. So it tells me at the end of the game, if I have the most crests in the skill track, I am going to gain some bonus points. Alright, and I remove my crests. Brian's crests stay there, so he doesn't lose out on that from me having gained that title. And finally, so I've done my 2 actions, but I want to spend 1 more spur to move up to Northumberland. And in Northumberland, there's the dungeon where I can turn in bad knights, and I have a very bad knight.
So visiting the dungeon is an end of turn.
Yes.
Is one of the end of turn options.
Yes. So because I have Sir Ironside with me, I'll turn him in, and he gives me 1 more skill point. He gives me 1 flip of dishonor, which again I don't have, so I just gain a blessing. And finally, he allows me to increase my justice, which allows me to place a crest over here. And now I trigger the virtue track, where Brian has more than me. You were very wise to put it on the virtue track. And Brian, you gain your points and your title. Let us know what we can call Dame Britomart from now on.
You may call me Dame Britomart the Sage. Okay. And this title means at the end of the game, I will gain 2 virtue points if I have or am tied for the highest wisdom. Ignore the old iconography on some of these cards. So it will avail me at end game to have increased my wisdom as much as possible.
Yep.
And it'll also avail me during the game because Ivan has to call me the Wise.
Yes.
Or the Sage.
Yep. I'll call you both.
Thanks.
All right. It's your turn, and I've moved the run tracker.
Okay. One thing I wanted to point out is that the reason that you had to travel to Joyous Guard, the dungeon in Northumberland, to turn in your villain is because you can see the on the icon there, villain knights are turned in there at the Joyous Guard dungeon, whereas villain courtiers have to be turned in at the Tower of London. So you can see the pink castle there. That's how you knew to go there. All right, so it's over to me, and my first action is going to be to visit Merlin and to attempt to help him discover the sunken city of Cantref Gwaelod. Did I pronounce that right?
Absolutely. I'm
You're up on
fascinated.
your Gaelic Welsh.
Yes, yes. That's
So I'm
why
rolling
I was hired on this project. I,
that. Yeah, just one of the many benefits.
yeah.
So I'll be rolling my courage and my nature. My courage is 3, so that's going to be 3 gold dice, and my nature is 2,
Again, I'll bring this card over.
2 silver dice. So I'm hoping for lots of grails, lots of swords, per usual. But if I'm unable to at least get 3 grails on this roll, then I'm going to take 2 wounds. So because I can't cover that first task, so I'm at the very least hoping to get 3 grails so I can avoid that particular punishment. Okay, I have 2 grails of a candle. And right, so here I am going to use an anvil to use my full plate. And that lets me bring another silver die in. Okay, slightly helpful. And I think I'm going to make use of my wisdom dice because I'm a little short of where I need to be here.
Candles and anvils, come on.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to use my candles. First time we've used one of our candle powers. Um, I've unlocked this candle ability in courage. So I'll place a candle here, and that means I can re-roll any dice I like. And in this case,
You don't really
I'll
need
choose.
to. You already have 3 grails and 5 swords like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fortunate.
Yeah. You can use it to just gain a blessing. This
Well,
bottom one that you've
instead,
unlocked.
I was just short. Okay. Instead, I'll place the candle here, and that'll just earn me a blessing. Okay. Wow. So I could do the Merlin thing all at one go. So I'll place my 2 crests. I will not take the wounds. I get to flip a dishonor, in this case, gain a blessing and a fame for the first task. The second task earns me a treasure. Now, these are magic items from Arthurian lore. So I'll draw one of these. And it is Clarent, Arthur's magnificent sword of peace. And this means that I can place what Clarent allows me to do is place a candle. So should I roll a candle in future virtue rolls, then I'll gain a wisdom die and I'll get to flip a dishonor. Very powerful. And I can also turn this card in or move it from where I can actively use it into my legacy in order to gain a skill point, and a virtue point. So a complete victory point at the end of the game. So I'll hang on to it for a while because it's powerful to use. But before the game ends, I do want to turn it in so I can get that.
Yep. And that you
the
turn it
reward.
in at Camelot, so that's that icon there.
I have to return it to Arthur naturally.
Yep. And that's where he likes
And
to
then
hang out.
since I'm the first person to place both crests on this on Merlin's task, I can gain the reward at the bottom. Now, when it comes to Merlin's tasks or the foreign campaigns, the fact that I have crest placed here doesn't mean that Ivan can't also go there and attempt to gain a magic item or a treasure and attempt to do all those things. Same with the foreign campaign. But it does mean since I've placed crests on all of them first, he does not have a way to gain the final reward at the bottom. So first, I get to increase any virtue, and I'll choose to increase my justice because my justice is only at 1, and I don't like having anything very low. So my justice goes up 1. I gain a fame for that. And then the second reward is I get 2 skill points. Oof.
All right.
I'm racking up the points.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that was my first action, visiting Merlin. For my second action, I will travel. I'm going to spend 2 spurs to travel to South Logres. 1, 2. And my second action will be to visit Camelot. And I'm doing that because I want a new quest. And Arthur is the place where I can gain one. So I will draw a quest.
Yep. And Camelot, you can see.
And we've only got like 5 of these in TTS, but the game itself has 20 of them. And let's see what I got. Marigart the Red. A Wicked Knight. No, oh yeah, I'm not reading flavor text. It's very hard for me. So in order to attempt this quest, I have to have at least 2 ranks in courage, so I'm good there. I have to have no wounds, so I'm good there. And it will ultimately be testing my combat skill. And I'll need 3 double swords to do that.
Yep.
So I now have this quest task to me, and it's the end of my turn. I will choose to end my turn in the Royal Lists. This is a contest site, but it's kind of a unique one because, first of all, I can choose any 2 resources to compete for. I have 3 fame. I got loads of blessings. I've got 2 spurs, so I'll choose to put 2 coins to generate 2 coins here. The other thing that makes this one unique is that there's no specific skill or virtue called for. That means that if I'm challenged, whoever challenges me gets to choose what skill or virtue we're using in competing for these 2 coins. And so we'll see if Ivan takes the bait. And that's the end of my turn.
Yep. All right. Beginning of my turn. I do want to head towards Cornwall to do my starting quest. I feel like you've gotten quite a bit of stuff from that foreign campaign in Merlin. So, but I did get a lot of skills and virtues, so I'm not complaining. I'm gonna move to Cornwall.
Lets you sleep at night, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna move into Cornwall as my first action. So I'm using just an action as 3 movement, and in Cornwall, I will attempt my starting quest, which requires of me 2 candles and a grail and faith. My faith is 2. I'll roll my 2 dice. Oof. I will roll my wisdom die. That's okay. I'm gonna spend this candle to roll 2 more dice with my fidelity.
All right. So the fidelity candle power does what exactly? You place a candle on it and
it allows me to roll 2 dice.
Right.
Which still is not enough. I will spend a blessing to make this into a candle, and then there we have it. I have a candle to cover the candle, a grail which also covers a candle, and a double grail which covers a grail space. And looking at my points right now, I've got all silver points, so I actually want to catch up on the gold points. So I'll choose the divine reward. Actually, I could be annoying towards Brian if I increase my wisdom twice, so that he's not actually a sage. I would love to do that, but I feel like... no, sorry, I'm just going to do my divine reward. So I increase my courage. That gets me a spur. I gain a blessing. And finally, I gain a gold point, which slots in nicely there. And this quest moves to the side. I have finished it. And as an end of turn action, I will go to the Forest Sauvage. So I spend a spur, move into the Forest Sauvage, and let's see what adventure
with no wisdom dice.
No wisdom dice. I got some blessings.
Yeah.
All right. So I will be rolling my nature.
The Wizard's Eye. You
yes.
encounter Merlin himself. Sorry.
Yep. I roll my nature, which is great. I've got a bunch. And also it tells me I get a bonus. If I have no dishonor, I roll 2 additional dice. I have no dishonor. We've been quite lucky with the dishonor this game. And I'll be rolling these 5 dice. Alright, so I've got 3 swords. So in the 3 to 5 range, I can gain a nature increase and a wisdom die, which seems very nice. But if I can get it up to 6 or more, I will potentially gain a magic item. My Allant is great, but I don't have any fame to actually use it. My dog doesn't think I'm famous, Brian. You know what? I'll just keep it keep what I got. I'm grateful for what I get. So I move my nature up, place a crest from that, and then I gain 1 wisdom die to add over here, and this goes to my legacy, and that is the end of my turn. So the round moves forward, and we do get a new foreign campaign. So I'll get your quests back.
Thanks. This foreign campaign takes place in Ireland, and it's going to call for justice and combat. So Ivan did not challenge me in the royal lists, so I'll gain these 2 coins. And then for my first action, I will visit the market in Canterbury. And this is a coin market, which means a couple of things. First of all, it means that I gain 2 coins on entry. And then it means that I reveal a horse asset, the top horse asset, and the top combat asset. And I can choose to purchase these if I like. They're going to cost me 2 coins each. So I want horse asset because I don't have one. So I will spend 2 coins to buy the genet. So I'll add the genet.
Oh,
here.
That's a nice one.
And the genet's cool because, yeah, I can enter the Forest Sauvage without using a spur, which is nice. Hey, did you get rid of the triple flail?
Yes, I did. I put it underneath. Did you need it?
All right. Well, I'm not sure. I might want to buy it. So I can spend an anvil to re-roll any or all dice. It's pretty powerful. Pretty nice. But my full plate has worked pretty well, so I won't buy it. Sorry for making you do that.
That's all right.
All right, so that was my first action. And then for my second action, I'm going to travel to Norgales, 1, 2, 3. And in my turn there, in the contest site. And this one generates a coin and a blessing. And that ends my turn.
Okay. I can start my turn anywhere I want, and I will start in South Logres, and I will visit Camelot. So in Camelot, I gain a quest, and I could trade in fame or coins, which I don't have, for points, but I won't do that because I don't have them. And my new quest is the Sword Polisher. Now, if I choose to, I can draw a new quest by taking a dishonor. So if I see that this really doesn't fit me, I could do that. But I'm quite happy with this quest, because all I need, well, quite happy is an overstatement. I need 1 court and 1 spur. I don't currently want to take the dishonor. And I'm okay with the courage. So, Sword Polisher. Alright, so that was my first action. My second action is I'd like to go on the foreign campaign. So I go on the boat, and I spend a coin to do so, and then I will be rolling for the Giant's Ire, which is 3 gold dice for me, and 3 silver dice for me. And let's see what I get. Okay, very good swords, not super good on grails. By not super good, I mean 0 grails. But that's okay because I can use my fidelity ability. Whoops, I somehow zoomed out. My fidelity ability to roll another 2 gold dice. Whoop. And then I will use my justice ability to immediately roll a wisdom die.
You're using candle abilities here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Ooh.
So it looks like I've got 3 grails, 5 swords, which means I could do the top 2 and not gain any wounds and dishonor, which is what we've been doing so far, playing very in a way that. Sorry, I'm interrupting my own thought because I'm thinking if I could use my Elant, but I don't have the.
That's okay. We can fix it in post.
Yeah. All right. I'll keep what I've got, so I'm pretty happy with it. So, 2 grails go here, 1 grail goes here. 2 swords go here, 2 swords go here. And I can place 2 crests on the top 2 rewards. I could have started from the bottom up, getting that magic item. I'm sure that's amazing, but also that would mean I gain some wounds and dishonor, and I'm not that type of knight. So what I gain is a fame, a spur, a wisdom die, a fame, a spur, a wisdom die. The wisdom die, I just realized I don't have space for. I probably should have just rolled my normal wisdom die, but that's okay. And I also gain a court asset. So let's see what I get. My court asset, a nun. Yep, I'm hanging out with a nun. So hopefully that'll come in useful. And I can choose to be dropped off wherever I want.
No, you can't. This
Oh.
foreign campaign says that afterwards you must return to Norgales.
Oh yeah, yep. Thank you for that. I will go to Norgales, and what is it? You're on the fidelity challenge site. My fidelity is 3. Your fidelity is 2. Huh. But you've got like all the blessings. But there's also.
So are you challenging me, or are you going to run away?
I'm gonna run away. Run away into the forest. I spend a spur, and let's see what's in the forest. I'm a forest savage, Brian. That's what they say about me. Alright, so I found a treasure, the Horn of Bran Galed, and it will be tested. If I want to gain it, I need to test my justice, which is 3, and I need to have 3 grails. So I feel like I could do this. There we go. So all I need is to make this candle into a grail, and the first thing I'm going to do is I will place it here and roll another 2 dice, because I don't want to be spending blessings when I don't need to. There we go. Alright, so I've got more than enough to cover all 3 spaces.
And maybe we should specify too that since actual die faces are shown on this card, you can't
distribute.
Split. Yeah, the fact that you've got a double grail doesn't mean that you can cover 2 of those.
Yeah.
Your double grail covers 1, your second double grail covers 1, so you actually need 3 separate dice that meet the criteria.
Yep. So I'm very happy with this treasure. At the start of each of my turns, I'm going to gain a fame, and it gives me more capacity for fame, and that's great because I've got my Allant, which is going to be eating up my fame.
Furthermore, its capacity comes full, so It comes with 2 fame already on it.
Yep, all capacity items come full always. And I could choose to turn that in for 2 skill points. Alright, so that's the end of my turn, and the beginning of the penultimate round. That's a word they used to say back in England.
See, medievalist too.
Yeah.
So I gain the coin from the contest site. I would gain the blessing, but I'm full on blessings, which means this blessing is going to stay here. And if someone claims this contest site, they will get that. So for my first action, I am going to visit Castle Emrys, which is going to be, I'll take on a knight and using horse in combat, and I've encountered Sir Denadin, and he's not so tough. Plus, I have Lady Angarad, and she, if I use her aid, will give me an additional die on this roll. It's indicated there, so I am going to use her. So she'll move into my legacy and give me her virtue point, and now I'm going to roll combat and horse, which for me is 5 silver dice plus the 1 additional that my courtier ally gave me.
Yeah, and it's possible that you might want to fight more than 1 knight, depending on what you roll. But
okay, so I've got a double sword there. I will use an anvil, my full plate, to roll this additional die. I'm also going to use, can I use an anvil for my spaniel? Roll 1 additional die for every 3 ranks in court. I've only got 2 ranks in court, so my spaniel won't help me until I get my court up. But I'll roll this additional one. It seemed fated to land on an anvil.
You've got all the blessings, Brian.
Got all the blessings. So I can use a blessing on one of these anvils to increase that to a sword. And I'll use another blessing to increase this anvil.
There you go.
To a sword. So I have this double sword that I'm not using because I'm going to do something else. So, but for the moment, I've unhorsed the good Sir Dunedin, and that gains me 2 fame and
a nature asset.
Another nature asset, which is good because my spaniel is not going to be useful to me. All right, it's the white stag. I will make the white stag active, flip the spaniel. Probably going to try and sell the spaniel at a market. And I've done what's necessary to win Sir Dunedin, who is a hero, to my retinue. And I have left over a double sword and 2 blanks. So I'm going to draw a second knight. And I can use the remaining dice from that roll to try and to take on this second knight. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake.
Well, we're gonna show them how wounds work. So
we're gonna show them how mistakes are made. The second knight awaiting me in the list is Sir Lamorak, and he is extremely powerful. So I have a single. I have a double sword. I can spend a blessing to turn one of those blanks into an anvil. Now let me cover that. And then I could spend my remaining 2 blessings to increase this blank from an anvil into an anvil and then into a sword, but that won't help me. I have no wisdom dice I can use, so I can only cover 2 of these things. So the anvil that I can cover is going to gain me a fame, but I'm full of fame, so I can't take that. And then I can choose where to place my second anvil. I'm gonna, or my where to place my double sword. I'm gonna place it on this last one because that will get me a court asset, and that's the one asset type I don't have. And it's the Fool.
Oh, I like that one.
I like that one too. But alas, I cannot cover these 2 middle dice on his array. So each of those will give me a wound. So Lamorak beat me up pretty good.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Take those wounds. That's going to limit my capacity for spurs and eventually to cancel out some of my hard-earned in-game points. So I'm unable to claim Lamorak. He rides away victoriously. I dust myself off. And now it's for my second action. I will spend a spur to travel to Sorgales. And there I will spend a fame to go on take the port and go on the foreign campaign.
All right.
And that's a faith and a horse. My faith is 3. My horse is 2. So I am here competing. Wait, where's the foreign campaign? Oh, you moved it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I stole it.
Oops. Okay, rolled the wrong stuff.
Yep.
I should have been rolling to my justice and my combat. So that would have been 2 silver, or 2 gold, 3 silver. So I'll roll these instead.
Oh, I'm so happy with that roll.
That's dishonorable, though. You should take dishonor for that comment.
Yeah.
All right, I will use my candle. Encourage to earn me a reroll of this die, and use this anvil my white stag to earn me a new die here. So first I'm going to roll that new die. All right, that's another anvil. I'll use that on my plate armor. Roll this one.
Nice.
Good. And then using my candle for a reroll, I can reroll any dice that I want. I'll reroll this blank.
Ooh.
Good. Okay. So I have enough to do the second task, which would block that and earn me a spur and a wisdom die. So I add that. And then I need a grail and 2 swords to do anything else. I have no way of... well, I have the wisdom die I just earned, but I can't use that because I just earned it.
Yep. And the fool, I think we should specify, the double success is just for swords, yeah? Because it's a skill.
Correct. Yeah. And more swords are not going to help me here. So I can place a crest on this one, and that means I'm going to take 2 wounds. So
Yep.
I'll have to flip 2 of my spurs into wounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I'm very wounded. I need healing badly.
Yep. And you gain those wounds just because you haven't covered that first one. So,
Right.
right. I'm pretty happy with that turn.
That was my second action. So I will choose to end my turn exactly. Oh no, I have to return to Norgales on this foreign campaign, but I will spend my final remaining spur so that I can end my turn in Sorgales, because there, this fountain will let me flip one of my wounds into a spur.
All right.
And that's the end of my turn.
All right. On my turn, I can choose where to start, either in Norgales or Cameliard. I'll start in Cameliard, and I'll start by visiting the court spot, because that's going to do a couple of really nice things for me. One, actually, at the beginning of my turn, my item, the sword, or sorry, my item, where's my item? I lost my item. Oh, there it is. My item, the Horn of Bran Galed, is going to get me 1 fame, and I will be spending the 2 fame from it to go and train. And in the training castle, I will gain a spur, and I spent those 2 fame to increase my court, which gives me 1 coin on increase. And finally, what I can do is at the court training tower, I can turn in this item. So I'm giving them the horn, moving it to my legacy, and gaining 2 silver points out of that. And I'm pretty happy with that. And then my second action, I want to get to doing this quest, which is in Sorgales. And I don't see why not to do it. I mean, other than the fact that I'm not courageous. But when has that ever stopped me? So I'm just going to go ahead and spend a spur, move to Sorgales, and attempt my quest. So I'm only rolling 2 dice. And hopefully I roll 2 crits. That's not 2 crits, but it's pretty good. I've got quite a few candle abilities. So I've got 1 grail. Then I'm going to use a candle ability to roll another 2 dice. Alright, that's 1 crit. Then I'm going to use another candle ability using this grail, because it's a higher value, to roll a wisdom dice. Wisdom die. Alright, and then I'm going to use my 2 blessings to make each of these grails into a double grail. So I absolutely do this quest, which gets me a fame, flip a dishonor, and 2 coins. So 1 fame, 1 flip dishonor, which is blessing, and 2 coins. And then I can choose my reward. It's going to be again the divine reward, so I gain 1 fidelity, which gets me a crest on the virtue track. Then I gain another crest on the virtue track, and then I gain 2 virtue points. And end of turn, I get to use the fountain that we bathe in the same fountain, Brian. The fountain of life. And that allows me to heal a wound, but because I don't have any wounds, I gain my spur. That's the end of my turn. It is also the end of the round. And just Merlin goes away. So Merlin does not. We don't spawn a new Merlin location. Just he is gone for now. And this is the final turn, Brian. So do what you can do.
Did you just finish that quest? Is that what you did?
Yes.
Didn't you need 2 spurs to attempt it?
Let's keep quiet about that. I did need 2 spurs. I spent 1 spur to move in. I'm sorry. If it's okay with you, I'll just.
That's fine. For the purposes of demonstration, we'll allow you to get away with that.
All right.
And you're also fortunate because I failed to use Clarent on that last roll, and I should have. What a terrible demonstration this is. All right. I'll begin my turn in Sorgales, and this is my last turn?
Yep.
Oi. All right, I've got to get rid of these wounds. So I'll spend a spur. To travel to West Logres, and there I'm going to visit the church. So I'll gain a blessing, and then I'll spend 3 coins, each of which will allow me to get rid of a wound. I can't flip it into a spur, which is sad, but at least they're gone. And now I have 1 turn remaining. If I had a spur, I'd be able to, or 1 action remaining, I'd be able to go to South Logres and turn in Clarent and gain good things. But alas, I don't. So for my final action, I can move somewhere, or it's really going to be moving somewhere. So what's going to be the best place for me to end my turn? I think it's going to be going to the Forest Sauvage. I think it's the best thing I can do. So I'll move any which where, and then my Genet allows me to enter the forest without spending a spur. So last thing I'll do is the Grim Baron of Castle Hewen. So I have some options here. I can beg leave, and that's going to earn me dishonor. I can't afford that. Or I can answer if I have a courtier hero in my retinue, which I don't, only have a knight, or I can attack. So I'm going to be attacking, and that's a combat test. So 3 silver dice, and I need 5 swords. 3 swords. And I can spend 2 blessings to increase this anvil to first a sword, then a double sword. That gets me to 5. That means I can do this one. Oh, God, I'm going to take a wound. So I've completed this one. Sadly, I do take a wound, and I increase my courage by 1. That gives me, oh no. Does this track, did I just fill that track? Or no, we still one short.
6. We're still 1 short.
Oh, you're probably going to do it though.
Yep.
And the third thing I gained from this is another crest in the track. So it fills.
Yay. All right, so because I have more crests than you, I get to take my crest back. I really thought you were in the lead.
I was. This is a perfect example of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I was in pole position here. So I will add this to my legacy, and that's it.
Okie dokie. If I could increase my fidelity, that would be great, because I just got a virtue of the Paragon, which is going to give me a victory point for each virtue where I have 5 or more, and I'm just 1 away on fidelity. But I don't want to be spending a movement to get there. I might as well do it. Although, actually...
Come on, man. People are bored.
I'm sorry. All right. I'm gonna... You know what? I'm gonna do the boring turn. I'm gonna just spend 2 spurs to move to South Lowgrace and then say, "Hello, Arthur. Did you know that I'm rich and famous?"
Oh boy.
And and I turn in 3 fame and 3 coins for 1 virtue and 1 skill point. And you know what? I have one more action. I'm gonna choose not to do the action because I did kind of cheat earlier. So I could have not cheated if I had spent an action as movement instead of a spur. So I will end my turn there. I do gain a quest, which I won't be doing, but we can move on to scoring. End of game.
Okay. So I have ended up with 3 completed in-game points. My wound is going to cancel one of my
Mm-hmm.
uh, virtue points, um, and
Sir
my
Dinadan.
title.
Oh,
I got one for him. Yeah,
yep.
and my title has gained me 2 virtue points. So in total, I'm going to end up with 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16
All right.
points toward winning the Siege Perilous.
All right. Fantastic. I do gain 1 additional skill point for Evane. And the
Ugh.
Paragon is 0. And also the Perfectionist is 0 because you're more of a Perfectionist than I am. However, I still get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19 points. So,
Ugh.
yep.
Those
I,
last
I felt like
three
you
and a
were
half.
well. You completed the Merlin and the foreign campaign, and I was like, "There's no way I'm catching up with all those like bonuses that you got." But I
But
did
then I started playing
against yourself.
extremely poorly, apparently.
Well, you do like to take risks. I feel like you're a gambling knight. You're like one of those Las Vegas knights, you know.
It worked early. It bit me in the backside at the end. So, yeah, that's it. Ivan, congratulations. You've won the Siege Perilous. You're the greatest of Arthur's knights. You will surely now go on to achieve the Grail quest and go down in history instead of that poor sod Galahad. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
So, uh, the Gamefound campaign goes live on June 23rd, and we have lots of reveals and stuff coming. You can actually, there's several ways that you're going to be able to acquire or even win some of these original pieces of art, these paintings signed by the artist, Jay Johnstone. And thanks, Ivan, for doing this, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.